grew up in a small town in northern New Brunswick. And I laugh because I always think it's so cliche when stories begin this way. It all looks the same. All the drama is the same. There's one place for your hardware needs. There's one place for your groceries. For us, there was one really great lobster place. My family immigrated to Canada in the 70s. My grandfather actually started a Chinese restaurant, and that's where I think the Lee name became really popular. And I love that I had so much pride for the food that we were able to cook. It was not Chinese cuisine at all. It was a lot of, westernized Cantonese food. And not only was it westernized, but it was maritimerized, I guess, in that there were certain ingredients that we weren't able to get. So we had to kind of make do with whatever was around. Chow mein, which is translated to tao mein, which, is fried noodles, just ended up being a lot of cabbage. A lot of cabbage and a little sprinkle of fried noodles over top. So definitely a dissonance between what the language was and what the food was. But no one really knew what that meant. So it was kind of like our little secret. I think this notion of a model minority really comes from my family, or at least starts there, and then sort of is sort of heightened in my own industry. I think from being a model minority daughter, a model minority woman who has a duty to take care of the family, or to, create the next generation that the family can be proud of. And then on the flip side, there's the public facing idea of this model minority, which I think for me is being a woman of color in a male dominated branch of the industry, where I'm often leading people who don't look like me. And if I fail, then maybe that doesn't leave room for more people like me. So I think that's complication number one when it comes to this notion of model minority. I think complication number two may be the fact that I'm mixed race, Asian, and white. And what does that mean for a mixed race person? What does it mean to be seen by your family as not being Asian enough because maybe you look more white? It doesn't matter how you grew up in your own household. It doesn't matter that you're first generation, that your first language was Cantonese. What matters is that you look white to us. So do we set the same standards against you? And I think on the other side of that, I was never a part of a white community growing up in terms of family, but amongst my friends and amongst my peers, my colleagues who were predominantly white when I lived in New Brunswick, there was an expectation that I would be the best at what I do. I would be a perfectionist. I would be incredibly smart. Complication number three, I think there are different standards between, and I'm going to speak specifically as a woman. If you were an Asian woman, the model minority standard may be that you need to be a model literally through your beauty. And if you can't accomplish that, then there's always being intelligent or making a lot of money. I have a brother and two sisters, and I also have a lot of younger cousins. And I'm the oldest of everyone, which was interesting because I don't think I ever had this understanding of what it meant to grow into beauty when I was a teenager. I didn't have an older sister to kind of trailblaze for me, or an older cousin. I remember seeing a lot of these images of who you wanted to be growing up, who maybe you thought you would be, because that's what everyone wanted. And my papa would mention how beautiful I was, beautiful enough that I should be competing in this Chinese pageant called Hong Siuze, which is like Miss Hong Kong, essentially. So this was always the dream, that I would grow up to be this beautiful Chinese pageant woman. I would pray to the sea. I lived next to the sea. And I would pray that I would look like Cameron Diaz. I wanted to be as beautiful. I wanted to be deemed as this conventional idea of what beauty was, clearly. And so I would pray to eventually grow out of my Asianness and look like this tall, blonde hair, blue-eyed woman. I look forward to a day when we're not measuring the success of a story based on trauma or the success of a human for the adversity they've faced. It's like a lot of pressure. And I hope simply having the desire to be a leader doesn't happen out of spite or having to prove oneself or recognizing what an identity should be and having to follow that path. I hope leadership or passion in any form comes out of authenticity